Cold wind moved through the dark streets of Arvion City. Neon lights flickered weakly, and the ground was wet from the evening rain. On one lonely corner, near a broken stone wall, an alien girl lay on the dirty ground. She was young, thin, and wounded. Her clothes were torn, and her knees were bleeding. Every breath she took sounded painful. Shay tried to sit up, but her body shook and fell again. Her name was Lyra. But nobody in this city cared to say it anymore. People of her own species passed by quickly. Some looked at her with disgust. Others whispered cruel words. One old alien woman muttered, "Shamed girl, keep away." A group of young aliens laughed at her, pointing at the mark burned on her back. It was the sign of dishonor, a cruel punishment in her culture. It told everyone that she was not trusted, not respected, and not welcome anywhere. Lyra hugged herself tightly, trying to hide from everyone. She did not cry. She had already cried too much before they cast her out. Now she only felt empty. Her stomach growled loudly. She had not eaten for 2 days. She tried to stand up again, pushing her trembling hands against the ground. She managed to lift her body for a moment, but her injured leg gave up. She fell down hard and gasped in pain. Rain started again, cold and heavy. The drops hit her face, and she closed her eyes. For a moment, she wished the rain would wash her away. She did not want to live like this. She did not want to feel this shame. Then she heard footsteps. Slow, steady, heavy footsteps. Not like the others who rushed past her. She opened her eyes. With fear, a shadow stood in front of her. She expected another cruel word, another kick, another voice telling her she was worthless. But the shadow did not move. Lyra slowly lifted her head. Her vision was blurry, but she saw something strange. Boots. Human boots. A human was standing in front of her. Humans rarely walked in this part of the city. They were usually safe inside their own zones. Why was one here? And why was he standing? In the rain, the human bent down slowly. His face came into view. He looked young but strong, with a calm expression. He had a thick jacket, now wet from the rain. His eyes were steady, not angry, not mocking. He asked in a quiet, gentle voice, "Are you hurt?" Lyra froze. No one had asked her this in a long time. She tried to crawl away, afraid he might hurt her. Her legs did not move well, and her breath beat fast with panic. The human noticed her fear. He did not reach for her. Instead, he took off his jacket and placed it gently over her shoulders. The warmth surprised her so much that she stopped breathing for a moment. "You're safe now," he said. Safe. She did not even remember how that felt. Lyra tried to speak, but her throat hurt. Her voice was just a soft whisper. "Please, don't hurt me." The human's eyes widened. "I won't." He lifted her carefully, carrying her in his arms as if she weighed nothing. She was shocked. No one had touched her kindly in months. Several aliens nearby stared at them. One shouted, "Human, leave that shamed girl. She is nothing." Another laughed, "Throw her away. She is cursed." The human ignored every voice. His grip stayed steady. He said only one thing, loud enough for everyone to hear. "No one deserves to die alone." Lyra wanted to believe him, but darkness covered her. Her head rested against his chest. The cold, the pain, the fear, everything became distant. She passed out. The human carried her through the storm, down quiet streets, up an old metal stairway, and into a small apartment. He placed her gently on his bed. The room was simple, but warm, with soft lights and clean sheets. Hours passed. When Lyra finally opened her eyes, she did not feel the cold ground. She did not hear cruel voices. She did not smell garbage or rain. Instead, she felt warmth. She turned her head and froze. She was lying on a human bed, in a human's home. Her heart started beating fast with fear and confusion. Why had he helped her? What did he want? Was this another trap? Before she could move, she heard footsteps approaching the room, and the door slowly opened. The door opened slowly, and Lyra froze like a frightened animal. Her hands clutched the blanket tightly, ready to defend herself even though she had no strength left. The human stepped into the room holding a small bowl of warm soup. Steam rose from it, filling the air with a gentle smell she had never sensed before. It was soft, warm, and comforting, something her harsh world never gave her. The human gave a small, careful smile. "You're awake," he said. Lyra's eyes widened. She pushed herself back against the wall, trying to make distance. She didn't trust smiles. Smiles always came before cruelty in her past. The human stopped walking the moment he saw her fear. He kept his hands in front of him, showing he held no weapon. "It's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you. You're safe here." Safe? That word again. But to her, safe was only a dream. Her breathing grew heavy. She tried to move off the bed, but her injured leg trembled and almost gave out. She grabbed the edge of the bed, panic rising. Seeing this, the human quickly set the bowl on the table and reached out to steady her before she fell. But she flinched hard, letting out a small cry as if expecting a strike. "I'm sorry," he said instantly, stepping back. "I shouldn't have moved so fast." His voice was calm, not angry. He wasn't shouting, wasn't telling her she was worthless. It confused her so much that she stared at him without blinking. He took a slow breath. "My name is Aaron," he said. "Can you tell me yours?" She hesitated. Giving her name always caused trouble, but hiding it didn't help either. So, in a weak, broken voice, she whispered, "Lyra." Aaron nodded gently. "Lyra, you need to eat something." He picked up the bowl again, but did not come too close. Instead, he placed it on a small table near the bed. "You can take it whenever you want." Lyra looked at the bowl suspiciously. Her people sometimes poised at the shamed ones. She had seen it happen. But the warm smell reached her nose again, and her empty stomach growled loudly. Her face filled with shame. She wrapped her arms around her stomach, trying to quiet the sound. Aaron didn't laugh. He didn't mock her. He simply said, "It's okay to be hungry. You've been through a lot." His kindness was confusing, even painful. Cruelty was easier to understand. But kindness, that felt dangerous. After a long moment, she reached for the bowl with trembling hands. She took one small sip. Warmth spread through her throat and stomach. Her eyes softened. This was the first warm food she had tasted in days. Aaron watched her quietly, not pushing her, not forcing her to talk. She took another sip, and another. Then she paused. She noticed something strange. There were no locks on the doors, no chains on her wrists, no ropes on her legs. If she wanted, she could walk out right now. Why wasn't she trapped? Her mind panicked with confusion again. She suddenly looked up at Aaron and asked, "Why? Why are you helping me?" It was not an angry question. It was a broken one. Aaron didn't answer at first. He looked at her carefully, as if choosing his words. Finally, he said, "Because you were alone in the rain. Because you were hurt. Because no one stopped to help you. And because it was the right thing to do." She blinked, stunned. The right thing? Helping someone like her? In her culture, once someone carried the shame mark, they were treated like dirt. No one helped them. No one cared if they lived or died. She looked at Aaron's face, trying to understand him. Then her eyes fell on something else. Long scars on his arm. Fresh ones. Old ones. Some from claws, some from blades. He had seen battles. He had suffered too, before she could ask about them. A sudden loud bang hit the front door. Lyra instantly jumped, dropping the bowl. Soup spilled across the blanket. Her heart raced. Aaron reacted quickly. He raised his hand. "Stay here," he said firmly. Her breath caught in her throat. Who is it?" Aaron did not answer. His calm expression had changed into something sharp. Protective? Another bang, heavier this time, shook the entire apartment. Someone outside shouted in a deep alien voice, "We know she is inside." Hand over the shamed one. Lyra's blood turned cold. Her hunters were here. Aaron stepped toward the door, determination in his eyes. Lyra whispered, "Please, don't open it." He looked back at her. "I won't let them hurt you." Her heart stopped. Why would a human fight for her? Before she could understand, the door shook again, and Aaron reached for the lock. The banging on the door continued like thunder. Each strike made Lyra's heart jump in her chest. She clutched the blanket tightly, her breathing fast and sharp. Old memories flashed in her mind. Nights when the warriors dragged her out. When her own clan shouted at her, when the shame mark burned into her back. She felt the same fear now, cold and deep. Aaron stood completely still, staring at the door with calm eyes. But Lyra could see tension in his shoulders. He was ready for whatever stood outside. Another voice echoed from the hallway. "Human, give her to us. She is not allowed shelter," Lyra whispered, trembling. They want to kill me. Please don't open the door. Please." Aaron looked back at her, his eyes soft but firm. "Lyra, I won't let them take you." His voice was steady, like he had already made his choice long ago. He slowly moved toward the door. Lyra shook her head. "No, they will hurt you. They hurt everyone who protects me." Aaron paused, his hand inches away from the lock. "Let them try," he said quietly. Before she could say anything more, he slipped out of the room and shut the door behind him. She heard the lock click. Lyra froze. The small sound felt like the world closing in. She struggled off the bed, limping, grabbing the wall for support. She dragged herself closer to the door, pressing her ear against it. She heard the front door open, then a deep, sharp voice. "Step aside, human." Aaron's calm reply. "No." Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Then the warrior's voice turned into a growl. "You protect a shamed one. You insult our law." Aaron answered, "Your law allows cruelty." "I don't follow cruelty." Lyra squeezed her eyes shut. She knew what came next. The warriors attacked. She heard a heavy thud, a sharp grunt, furniture crashing, the sound of skin hitting metal. She heard Aaron's breath, pained but angry. She heard one of the warriors choking or gasping. Then something fell to the floor. She wanted to help, but she could barely walk. Her legs shook, her throat burned with fear. Then suddenly silence. No voices, no steps, no breathing. The silence was worse than the noise. Lyra pressed her trembling hand to her mouth. "Aaron." The door slowly opened. Aaron stood there, breathing hard. A fresh cut bled across his forehead. One sleeve of his shirt was torn, but he was standing still, strong, still calm. "It's over," he said. Her eyes filled with tears she didn't mean to show. She had never seen anyone fight for her. Not once. Not even her family. Aaron walked into the room and reached for a cloth to clean the blood from his brow. Lyra, without thinking, reached for it first. "Sit," she said softly. He hesitated, then obeyed and sat on the edge of the bed. She stepped closer, her hands shaking, and gently pressed the cloth to his wound. He flinched from the sting, but said nothing. Lyra whispered, "Why do you protect me?" "You don't even know me?" Aaron watched her, his voice low. "Then tell me. Let me understand." Her hands paused. Nobody had asked for her truth before. They only punished her without listening. She lowered her eyes. I was accused of stealing a small crystal, not valuable. But my clan elders believed the lie. They marked me with shame." Aaron frowned. "Did you steal it?" "No." Her voice cracked. "I didn't." Aaron seemed to believe her instantly. That alone shocked her. No one had believed her before, not even those she loved. She continued in a whisper, the cloth still in her trembling hand. "The real thief was the chief's son. I saw him drop the crystal that night. He blamed me so he could escape punishment. And because he is powerful, everyone believed him." Anger tightened Aaron's jaw. "They hurt you for his lie." She nodded slowly. "They beat me. They burned the mark into my skin. They threw me out. They said I brought shame to our clan. Some tried to kill me on the road." Aaron's hands curled into fists. "You don't deserve this." Lyra looked at him, tears running freely now. "Why do you care?" He met her eyes. "Because what happened to you is wrong. Because you're alone. Because—" He paused, searching for the words. "Because someone should have helped you a long time ago." Her breath shook. No one had spoken like this to her. She dropped the cloth. Her hands covered her face as she cried silently. Not from pain, but from the shock of kindness. Aaron gently placed a hand on her shoulder, not pushing, not forcing, just letting her know he was there. For a moment, she allowed herself to lean against him, her first moment of safety in months. But that moment ended quickly when sudden pounding echoed outside again, heavier than before. A new voice shouted, "Open the door!" By clan order, she must be captured. Lyra gasped. Aaron stood up, jaw clenched. This time, Lyra more event, and they were not leaving without blood. The pounding on the front door grew louder. Stronger, like someone striking it with metal. Weapons. Every hit shook the tiny apartment, making dust fall from the ceiling. Lyra's eyes widened with terror. She backed away slowly, her injured leg trembling under her weight. Aaron moved forward, placing himself between Lyra and the hallway. His jaw tightened, and his eyes sharpened. He wasn't confused by the danger. He wasn't afraid. He looked like a man who had seen battles before. "Stay behind me," he said firmly. Lyra shook her head. "There are more of them this time. I can hear them. They will kill you if you protect me." Aaron didn't respond. He simply stepped into the hallway and closed the bedroom door halfway to shield her. Outside, voices echoed. "She is inside." "We saw her enter. Ewan opened the door or face clan punishment. Break it if he refuses." Then something metallic hit the door hard, a heavy strike that bent the outer hinges. Lyra gasped softly. "No, no." They brought the hunters. Hunters, the clan's most dangerous fighters. They only came out when someone needed to be taken dead or alive. Aaron placed his hand on the handle. Lyra, listen to me. She waited, breathless. They won't take you. Another massive hit shook the entire wall. You don't understand, she cried. They follow no rules. They don't care if you're human or alien. They only obey one command: kill the shamed one. They'll have to go. Through me first, Aaron replied. The door cracked. A small hole appeared in the wood. A glowing alien eye peeked through. There she is, the warrior growled. Aaron immediately shoved a metal cabinet in front of the door, blocking the view. The hunters shouted, furious, You dare block us? Move, human. She is clan property. Aaron yelled back, No one is property. Another heavy crash. This time the whole door frame shook. Aaron grabbed a metal bar from the kitchen counter. It looked like an old pipe, but he held it like a trained fighter. Lyra limped toward him. You can't win? They are many? Please, let me leave. If I go out alone, maybe they will spare you. Aaron turned toward her sharply. His voice was more forceful than before. Lyra, stop. I'm not letting you walk into your death. You deserve more than running forever. Her eyes filled with tears. Not because of fear this time, but because someone finally said she deserved something. Another explosion-like sound, the door cracked open fully. One hunter kicked the broken piece aside and entered. He was huge, armored in dark metal, with long claws on his hands and burning marks on his chest, symbols of authority. Aaron pushed Lyra gently back into the room. Close the door! Lock it. Before she could argue, he stepped out and pulled. The bedroom door shut. Lyra quickly locked it, but her heart was screaming inside her chest. She pressed her ear to the door again. The hunter's voice thundered. Human, step aside. This is clan punishment. The girl must die. Aaron's voice answered, calm but strong. She did nothing wrong. A second hunter entered. Wrong or not, she carries the mark. It is enough. Aaron stepped forward. Not for me. Lyra's hands covered her mouth. She could imagine his stance, his steady eyes facing giants without fear. Then the fight began. The sounds were brutal, metal hitting metal, claws scraping the floor, heavy bodies slamming into walls. Aaron grunted as a strike hit him. Something fell to the ground. Lyra's whole body shook. Her nails dug into her palms. She whispered through tears, Please, please don't die. Outside, a hunter shouted in pain. Then another fell with a loud crash, but there were too many. 3 more entered the apartment. Their deep roars made everything vibrate. This human protects her like she is worth something. One mocked. Aaron growled, She is. Another blow. Hit him. Lyra heard him stumble. Her lungs felt tight. She wanted to burst through the door, but her body wouldn't move. The hunters laughed. Enough. Kill. A loud metallic crack interrupted him. Aaron struck with everything he had, knocking one warrior to the floor. But before he could finish, something sharp slashed across his arm. He hissed in pain. Lyra couldn't stay back anymore. She unlocked the bedroom door and pushed. It opened despite her shaking legs. Aaron, she cried. He turned, sweaty and bleeding, eyes fierce. Get back inside. But before she could retreat, all the hunters turned toward her at once. Their eyes glowed with the hunger of the hunt. There, one said. The shamed one. Ticker. Aaron stepped in front of her again, raising the metal pipe with his good arm. But the hallway darkened. A massive shadow moved behind the hunters. A deeper voice spoke calm. cold, deadly. Enough. I will deal with her myself. Lyra's blood turned to ice. It was the clan leader. The clan leader stood tall, taller than any of the other hunters. His long robe dragged across the broken floor as he stepped forward. His face was cold and unreadable. The hunters moved aside with quick bows. No one dared speak in his presence. Aaron's hands tightened around the metal pipe. Blood dripped from his arm, but he didn't step back. He stood between Lyra and the leader like a wall. "You're protecting her," the leader said slowly, like it was a strange concept. Aaron didn't blink. She didn't do anything wrong. The clan leader looked past Aaron and straight at A. "Lyra, she carries the mark of shame. She carries pain," Aaron replied. "That mark means nothing to me." The room was silent. For a few long seconds, no one moved. Then the clan leader raised one hand. "We will return," he said. "But when we do, she must be handed over, or we take her by force." He turned and left. One by one, the hunters followed. Their footsteps echoed down the hallway like thunder moving away. Aaron stood still until the last one was gone. Only then did he lower the pipe and sigh. Lyra collapsed onto the floor, shaking, breathing hard. "They'll come back. And next time, they won't leave." Aaron looked down at her. "Then we'll be ready." "We?" she asked, her voice small. "Yes," he said. "I'm not letting them take you." She looked at him, unsure whether to cry or laugh. "Instead," she whispered, "why?" Aaron sat beside her on the floor. "Because no one helped me once, too." She turned to him, confused. "What do you mean?" Aaron leaned back against the wall. "I was a soldier. Long time ago. One of my missions went wrong. My team was killed. I was blamed. I was cast out by my own command. Just like you." Lyra's eyes softened. "They shamed you, too." He nodded. "Not with marks, but with silence, with lies. I was forgotten." Lyra swallowed hard. "And you still helped me?" Aaron looked at her. "Because I know how it feels. And I promised myself if I ever saw someone left behind like I was, I'd never walk away." For a long time, Lyra said nothing. She had always believed humans were selfish, that they only cared about their own kind. But this man had stood in front of blades and claws. For her, that night, she didn't sleep on the bed. She slept beside it, near the wall, curled up in the blanket. But she wasn't shaking anymore. She wasn't cold. The next morning, the sun touched her face through a cracked window. She blinked awake, and to her surprise, the human was asleep in the chair near the door, arms crossed, head leaned back. He hadn't left her alone. She slowly stood up, limping toward the kitchen. She wanted to help, even a little. She opened the small cabinet. Most of the food was strange to her, but she recognized fruit and bread. She tried to cut it like Aaron had the day before. When he woke up, the smell of something warm filled the small apartment. Aaron stepped into the kitchen, surprised. "You cooked?" Lyra nodded shyly. I wanted to thank you." Aaron smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him. They sat together in silence, eating quietly. Later that day, he showed her how to use a medical kit. He wrapped her wounds carefully, teaching her what each tool did. She listened closely, asking soft questions. When her leg hurt less, he gave her a small book to read. She didn't understand all the words, but she tried. He corrected her gently. "Day?" After they shared simple moments, Lyra began to laugh again. Not loudly, just a little. But it was real. She asked about Earth. He told her stories, funny ones, sad ones, human ones. And in return, she told him about her planet, about the trees with silver leaves, about the birds that sang in color, and about how she used to dream of flying. One evening, Aaron fixed the heater. The room became warm again. Lyra stood quietly near the window. He asked, "You okay?" She nodded. "I think. This place feels like a home now." He looked at her. "Then stay as long as you want." She smiled, the first smile without fear. "Thank you, Aaron." But deep inside, both knew the peace wouldn't last. The clan leader had said he would return, and when he did, he wouldn't come alone. That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. Aaron was resting on the bed, arms behind his head, breathing slow and peaceful. She sat on the floor beside the wall, knees hugged to her chest. Her eyes stared at the door, not in fear this time, but in conflict. She felt safe here. She felt human warmth. But deep inside, a storm was growing. "I am putting him in danger," she whispered to herself. He had already bled for her, fought for her, and faced her people without fear. She had never known anyone like Aaron, but she had also never known safety to last, and she couldn't bear the thought of watching him die. Because of her, she stood up slowly, careful not to make a sound. Her leg still hurt, but it was stronger now. She walked to the table where he had kept his old coat and quietly picked it up. Then she opened the door and stepped into the cold night. The stars above Arvian City blinked quietly, like they were watching her with sorrow. Lyra walked down the narrow stairs and out into the streets, hiding in shadows. She didn't go far, only to the edge of the old market, where broken walls and alleyways hid her from sight. She sat behind a pile of metal scraps, curling inside Aaron's coat. She didn't want to leave him, but she couldn't stay. Just need to keep him safe, she told herself. She looked up at the window of Aaron's apartment. A warm light still glowed. She imagined him waking up, looking for her, wondering where she had gone. Her chest tightened painfully. "I'm sorry, Aaron." She stayed hidden, watching an hour pass. Then suddenly, she saw movement in the alley below, sharp shapes. In the darkness, footsteps, voices. She crouched lower, eyes wide. The hunters had returned, but they weren't heading to Aaron's door. They were searching the streets quietly, carefully like wolves hunting a scent. Her heart began to pound. They had found her trail, and now they were circling in. One hunter sniffed the air and grunted, "She's close. I can smell the shame mark." Another pointed toward the upper buildings. She stayed with the human. "I told the chief this would happen." A third laughed. "If she has feelings for him, we can use that." Lyra's breath caught. Feelings? She hadn't thought about it that way. She only knew that when Aaron was near. Her fear faded. She felt something she didn't have a name for. Suddenly, one of the hunters turned toward the shadows where she hid. His glowing yellow eyes narrowed. "There!" Lyra gasped and ran. Pain shot through her leg, but she didn't stop. Her bare feet slapped the wet ground as she limped through alleys, jumping over broken crates. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew one place that had ever felt safe. Aaron's home. Aaron woke up to the sound of pounding footsteps outside. He sat up fast, his instincts sharp, when he saw the blanket folded neatly in the coat. Miss in his stomach dropped. She left. Then came the bang at the door. He stood quickly, grabbed his old pipe, and stepped into the hallway just as the front door burst open. Lyra stumbled inside, eyes wide, breathing like she had been running for hours. Aaron, they're coming, they saw me behind her. 3 hunters followed fast. Aaron didn't ask questions. He pulled Lyra behind him and raised the pipe. The first hunter lunged. Aaron swung hard, hitting the side of the warrior's face. The impact rang through the hallway. The second hunter tackled him from the side. Aaron hit the wall, but stayed standing. Lyra screamed. The third hunter grabbed her arm and pulled hard. She fought, kicked, tried to break free. Aaron saw her eyes. Terrified, and something inside him snapped. He roared. He struck the hunter's arm, forcing him to release Lyra. But Aaron took a heavy punch to the ribs. He collapsed, coughing blood. The hunters circled him. Lyra grabbed a chair and swung. Hit wildly. It hit one of them, not strong, but enough to distract. Aaron pulled himself up. Both of them, human and alien, stood side by side, weak, bleeding, breathing hard, but not giving up. One hunter said, "You'd fight beside her?" Aaron wiped blood from his mouth. Every time. The hunters stepped forward to strike, but a voice called out, "Stop." All heads turned. A large ship hovered above the street, its lights glowing down. A figure stood at the edge of the platform, cloaked in light. Lyra whispered, stunned, "That's not the clan leader." Aaron narrowed his eyes. "Then who is it?" The figure stepped forward, and a new voice said, "I've come for the one you call shamed. She is no longer alone." The ship hovered silently above the cracked rooftops. Its glowing light cut through the night like the sun breaking after a long storm. The hunters froze, their eyes fixed on the figure standing at the edge of the landing ramp. It wasn't the clan leader. It was someone far more feared and far more respected. She wore a long silver robe with golden lines running through the fabric. Her head was held high. Her skin shimmered faintly under the ship's lights. This was High Arbiter Teshka, one of the Galactic Council judges. Even the clan hunters lowered their weapons and bowed. Aaron stood beside Lyra, panting, one hand gripping his side where he had been punched hard. Lyra's knees were shaking, but her eyes stayed locked on the Arbiter. Teshka spoke with a voice full of power and calm. "Lyra, daughter of Clan Hoven, was declared shamed without trial," she said loudly. "But the truth has reached the council." Gasps spread among the hunters. Aaron blinked, confused. "Truth?" The Arbiter looked directly at him. "From your reports, and from others who saw the real crime, the chief's son has confessed." Lyra was innocent. Lyra fell to her knees. Her hands covered her mouth. She could barely breathe. I'm free." Teshka nodded. "Yes. The shame mark was unjust. It will be removed." The hunters stood in silence. Some looked away in shame. Others lowered their heads. One of them whispered, "We followed false orders." Aaron stepped forward, still in pain. "Then make it right." Teshka turned to Lyra. "You have a choice? Come with us. We will clear your name, give you land, safety, status. You will be part of your people again." Lyra looked at the shining ship. She had dreamed of this moment, of being accepted, of being safe. But then she looked at Aaron, bruised, bloodied, still standing beside her. He hadn't given her safety. He had given her love, in actions, in sacrifice. Without saying the word, she stepped closer to him and said, softly but firmly, I already found where I belong. Teshka tilted her head. With him? Lyra nodded. He didn't ask who I was. He didn't care about marks or lies. He just gave me a home when I had nothing. Aaron looked surprised, touched, unsure what to say. Teshka smiled slightly. Then your new life begins today. She handed Lyra a small glowing disc. If you ever need help, this will call me. The ship slowly lifted higher and disappeared into the stars. The hunters bowed again and left, one by one, silent, defeated. For the first time. The night was quiet. Aaron turned to Lyra. You really meant that? She smiled. I meant every word. Later, in the small apartment, Lyra stood by the window, looking up at the stars. Aaron walked over, holding a fresh bandage. Let's patch up your leg again. She sat on the bed and laughed softly. You've become good at that. I've had practice, he smirked. After wrapping her wound, he stood up and stretched. I'll sleep in the chair. You take the bed. She looked at him for a long second. Then gently, she pulled the blanket aside and painted the space next to her. We both fought today, she said. We both deserve rest. He hesitated. Then, with a small smile, he sat beside her. They didn't speak much after that. The silence wasn't awkward. It was warm. Lyra whispered, Do you think it's possible for someone who lost everything to build something new? Aaron replied, I don't think I know. She leaned her head against his shoulder. Outside, the stars blinked. But inside that small room, a different light was born, the quiet light of a new beginning. A bed that was once only his was now theirs.